It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Hey.
Hey, Gary. Welcome back to rAVe TV. We took a week off.
Yeah, it was a nice week off. I see that you're, and just state the obvious, you're sitting in your kitchen.
Yes, I'm sitting in my own apartment, and there's a reason for that. So, over the holidays, it unfortunately coincided with Omicron kind of running rampant, and I was exposed to someone with COVID last Tuesday, so I have been quarantining ever since and kind of isolating in my own house. So I think I'm good. I've had one test so far and it's negative, but I just was trying to be cautious in the case that I accidentally had picked it up. So I am at the house. I didn't see my family for Christmas or anything.
So you didn't do anything for Christmas? So you didn't get it?
No.
I was going to ask you what presents you got. You didn't get any presents for Christmas?
No. I got we had our holiday party a couple weekends ago, and I have you were my Secret Santa this year. And you got me this comfy blanket
Sweatshirt blanket
you wear. So that was my Christmas.
Hold it up again. We got a full screenshot now. Hold it up again.
Okay.
But that's not the only thing I got you.
No, you also got me a very coveted box of samples from Sephora. So I was very happy. You did a good job.
Well, I had to pay you back. You had to pay you back for getting my present last year, which is the greatest present ever. Go full screen there, Madeline. Come on now. This is an actual true story, too. I was actually there the first weekend Star Wars came out in 1977. So, yeah, and you had that custom made for me, so thank you. Yeah,
I consider myself to be a good present giver. This
year.
Are. I had Kirsten, and she got a dog last year, and I had a watercolor portrait done of her dog, and I framed it for her and gave it to her. So I think I did good again because she was really excited about it when she opened it.
Well, when I drew your name, the response resoundingly by the few people I told that I drew your name was like, oh, you're in trouble because Steph gets really good, thoughtful presents, and you're not thoughtful about that kind of stuff, Gary, so you're going to have to think this out. So I turned to Madeline, our producer here, and I said, what do you think I should get? And she goes, well, she really wants this makeup. And I'm like, yeah, I can't go get makeup. I wouldn't know what to get. And she goes, no, I'll take care of it for you. So she knew what to get you. But I thought that little blanket was cool. So therefore, I got you both.
I opened it, and immediately when I opened it, I was like, Gary's my Secret Santa. Because no, who else would buy this? And at first I was like, this is it's so interesting, but I've actually worn it the past couple days, and I was like, okay, he maybe had a point. This is kind of comfy.
I mean, yeah,
this kind of comfortable. This kind of nice. So
I'm getting ready for my UNC classes for next semester. We get an extra week of vacation between semesters. So I'm actually redoing the curriculum and updating it. One of the classes I teach, Steph, which is the only one I teach that you didn't take from me, is the advertising creative class. And so what I always look for is...
I don't even think you taught it back then.
I didn't. So that class is all about, it's sort of pushing the envelope in creative and then kind of inspiring them through creative storytelling. And there was an ad that came out over the holiday that is one of the best I've seen probably the last 3 or 4 years. And I want to play because I'm going to bet our viewers have seen parts of this commercial because there's a 30-second version and a 1-minute version, but this is the full story. So if you'll hang in there, this is like three or 4 minutes long, but this is the full commercial. This is going to be, I will predict up front that this will sweep the awards, the Clio Awards for advertising, and probably the Cannes Awards as well. It will be the top ad for the year for 2021, I think. It's really well done, very authentic to the brand. So I hope that you enjoy it, everybody. Just watch it really quickly.
Hey, Tam Tam. How are you?
Well, it's been hard with Dad these days, and so I was thinking maybe...
Your mom's car.
I mean, she taught me to drive in that car.
You up for a little night work? Don't mind me. Thank you.
It's what Mom would have wanted. You know that.
It's the best Christmas gift I could ever have. You ready?
I'm ready.
Uncle, you ready?
Yeah, you're ready.
Wow, that's kind of making me cry.
Is that awesome or what?
Yeah, that's really awesome.
That is, you know what's great about that? First off, it's a great story, right? It's one that, you know, even though it might seem kind of corny, it gets you. And then it's authentic to the brand, which is good. Like, you know, just because you come up with a great story doesn't mean you connect. Like, you couldn't do this in a Pringles commercial, right? I mean, it wouldn't make any sense, right? This is really authentic to the brand. And it's a really soft sell of the brand itself that's going to garner a lot of free publicity, right? When you have this kind of an ad, it's going to go viral. It's going to garner a lot of free PR like this. Like, here we are playing it.
Yeah, here we are playing it and talking about it. Any a hallmark of a great commercial for me is just like any commercial that like you have some type of like visceral reaction to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
And and this definitely fits that because it's like it makes me like want to cry because it like the whole like daughter and relationship with her dad thing, like anything like that makes me cry because I am so close with my dad that like any type of, I feel like you probably feel the same way because you're really close with your daughters too. Yeah. Like any type of father-daughter thing like just kind of hits you really close to home. But yeah, and I mean, I guess it's great for their brand too because it's kind of like it's not showing a new car. It's like our stuff lasts through the years kind of thing.
Right. And it's classic and it's, you know, it's bigger than the model's bigger than the logo. It's part of the whole brand, right? The whole brand. But anyway, shifting gears a little bit, the first story we're going to talk about is kind of interesting because I think, you know, we all kind of pay attention to security issues, but we don't pay that close attention to it until it happens to us.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about this story?
Yeah. So Scott Tyner wrote this, and it is about the Log4j like cybersecurity incident. So it was kind of just a flaw in some software, which affected a lot of people. So it's basically like, from my very limited understanding, Log4j is like a Java code, and it's like it's stuck into software to like log what commands are being used. So this is like when you get an error 404 if you like accidentally go to the wrong website or something. So the vulnerability basically like it got people's information from that somehow. And it had everybody in a tizzy. But what Scott wrote about was he like made some recommendations for how AV can kind of use cybersecurity vulnerabilities and then like be resourceful and like, you know, like let's review all the companies and responses to breaches in one place and like help other people in the industry. Like we could make a resource out
share
of this
information.
kind of thing.
Yeah, share information because we're like a small community, and that can really affect our livelihood when something like this happens. In fact, let's talk about affecting livelihood. There's although the ISE says there's 100% chance a show's going to happen, there's a lot of stuff that's happened recently. We got a story up about what they're planning on doing for ISE in Barcelona the first week of February. But let's see, what is today? Wednesday. Just on Monday, Germany added Spain to the list of cannot travel locations, and that's where the show's going to be this year. I think there's a lot of consternation about, how big the show will be. And ISE still tells us that the 100% chance show is going to happen. The more closer we get with this variant to that date, the more it looks like it'll be a smaller regional show, potentially. Hope not, but potentially.
I mean, I just kind of wanted to talk about it. One, because like the thought leadership opportunities there are going to be, pretty great if everything goes as planned. But I did just kind of want to talk about it in that, like, and be transparent in that, like, there is a chance that it might be a smaller show. There is a chance that it's just like with everything else. It's so hard to plan for a trade show these days because you never know what can happen 2 weeks before the show.
Yep.
So
we're hoping it happens. We're going to be there one way or another. Now, being transparent, like you said, we have a few people that have already stepped forward and said, I'm not comfortable going to the show. So we're not obviously forcing anyone to go that doesn't want to go. So we're trying to work through who we'll have available to go to the show. And we're going to cover it one way or another. If the show happens, we will definitely go.
And it's another thing of just like planning how many people we need. And that's been difficult recently too. Cause like you want to take as many people as manufacturers and people who are going to be there. Cause you want to have enough people to cover the stuff. But with just things being so up in the air, it's just so tough to plan for. So, but yes, we will be there one way or another. We've always managed to do that. We've always managed to figure it out somehow. So,
and we will announce this for those who are manufacturers that are watching this broadcast. We'll send you an email next week because our plan is we're going to have the ISE coverage. We're going to have a replay week, and then 2 weeks later we're going to do a launch week. That will kind of wrap up everything as well. So we've kind of we're going with our plan A and plan B at the same time as a solution because we're getting a lot of brands that still want to do an event after the show. So we'll release more information about that. So just stay tuned. Just always watch ravepubs.com. In fact, this is Rave TV. We're coming to you live as we do every Wednesday at noon on ravepubs.com, on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And this is Gary K. I'm with Steph Beckett. Steph Beckett runs all of our editorial here at the Rave Agency, which includes Rave Pubs and all the newsletters. And hey, we can't do this without our sponsors supporting our coverage. So we should take a look at this from Shure with regard to this is covering the MXC W Pro. So let's play it.
Business is changing. People need space, simplicity, and systems they can trust. They need to be ready for the new normal. Most importantly, they need their ideas to be heard.
I still can't really hear you.
Shure's Microflex complete wireless system has you covered. For live events with social distancing or virtual access to events and conferences. This is high-quality audio made easy, allowing you to stay connected anywhere and keep audiences engaged with the conversations that matter. From one wireless transceiver, you can control up to 125 conference units, each with its own loudspeaker and microphone. The Shure Microflex Complete Wireless for any space and every voice. A conferencing solution for the business world of today.
Any questions?
The Microflex was part of my top products of 2021 review. I don't know if you saw that webinar that I did for Almo, but it was one of the top 21 products for 2021, that whole series of products. And this is kind of interesting because this is a product that you normally use in like large conference applications like the UN uses, right? Where you have hundreds of people and they press a button and you wait in line to speak. But yet they've kind of like, I don't want to say dumbed it down, but they've adapted it for sort of the new working environment where people might be sitting in co-working spaces all over the place, but you're still have people on the far side that need to hear what's going on. And you can't put a ceiling tile microphone in because it's just too many obstacles or a weird shaped room, that kind of thing.
Well, that's the future. Like, yeah, I mean, you and I have been talking a lot about, like how kind of the different verticals are kind of just like melting into one another, and like things are just becoming like less in silos. And so it just definitely is another example of like how manufacturers are going to have to adapt and make things that can work for different, that like one product should be able to work for different applications. So
you could call that column melted into each other.
Yeah.
I like that term.
Thank you. That's a scientific term, actually.
Oh, okay. So Savant joined the Avenue Alliance, which is a big deal because this gives them a giant control company as part of the Alliance for Interoperability for Consumer Products. So obviously they're addressing both audio and video as well as control. And of course, Savant is an adopter of a few different AV over IP platforms, including SDVOE. So that will help them as well. And so that happened over the break. And then we have an article that was posted about Infocom, believe it or not, a wrap-up article about Infocom. Talk about that, Steph.
So this is from Michael Katz. He was our guest a couple weeks ago, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know what time is anymore, but Michael has written for us. I think he's written like 15 or 16 or 14 articles for us at this point. But basically he wrote about, because a lot of people had like a lot of thoughts and about a lot of feelings about how Infocom was smaller this past year. But Michael said that this was actually like his most successful Infocom he's ever had. So what he does in this article is he talks about the power of networking. And throughout the article, he like counts like all of the people he met for the first time in person, and like how transformative that was and how that really helped his professional relationships, because he just talks about how it's like so different having a relationship with someone like over Zoom, like a professional relationship over Zoom or Teams or what have you. But like when you meet them in person, it really helps develop your relationship and like helps you like professionally in the future and stuff. Because like you and I met him for the first time in person at Infocom, right? Like you had not met him before that.
I don't think I had. We went on a lot of conferences together, but I don't think we'd actually met in person.
Well, I talked to him for the first time during D-Sign, during like Avixa's D-Sign last like December 2020. And then he started writing for us a few months after that. And like he and I would talk pretty frequently over the phone or on video calls. But yeah, I met him for the first time at Infocom. So it was, and like he met a bunch of us there and talks about it and just talks about how like it was impactful for him, and like he made a lot of really good contacts. So yeah, I mean, it's just nice to kind of hear that side of Infocom, because like you just can't help but hear like, oh, it was smaller, like that wasn't what I wanted. but he was like, no, like this is the best time I've ever had. So it was nice to like read something on that end as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that. I mean, we had a chance to, as you're walking through a show, normally you're like getting from point A to point B because you have to be there a certain time. At InfoCon this year, it was a different kind of like time stood still kind of thing. There was a lot more opportunity to have conversations. I think ISE is going to be like that based on the way it's going. But we did have a question. We did have a comment just come in from Doug Evans, who I know. I actually know Doug for many, many years. Used to be at a couple of different integrators on the West Coast and Sony as well. And he just asked if we would set up a rAVe store. Doug, stay tuned. It is happening finally when we launch our new website. So hang in there. But Steph, I feel like I cut you off.
Oh yeah, no, it's no big deal. It wasn't that. I just was wondering if you thought that DSC was going to be similar to, like, it's kind of like.
I don't know. I mean, DSC is kind of like a redo, right? They're bringing the show back. So
and that's like the point I was trying to make, because it's like this is the first time it's under its new like rebrand. It's under new ownership. So like there's no kind of precedent for how it's going to be or what it's going to look like. Yeah. So I was just wondering what your thoughts were about what we should expect, because we're definitely going to that too. So
yeah, Vegas is open and they've had shows been going on there. In fact, CES is happening there next week, and that'll be a good indicator. I think we got to wait and see how CES goes, because normally CES would have 200,000 people, and it would have somewhere in the range of 5,000 to 7,000 exhibitors. Now it's looking like it's going to have maybe a couple thousand exhibitors, and it's going to have maybe 50, 60,000 people. So it'll be interesting to see. I kind of want to hold my opinion until then, but I'm bullish on DSC because it is a niche show, right? It's specifically targeted at digital signage and experiential events. And so it is very niche focused. And because of that, it'll probably be successful, because what you have is fewer people going to shows, right? And these generic shows that do have a little bit of everything for everyone, those are the ones where the key individuals are still going. Like at InfoComm, the business owners and the decision makers were still there, even though we didn't have 50,000 people. We had 7,000 people that all were decision makers and important people in the industry. So therefore, at DSE, instead of having 5,000 people, which they would normally have, which include 1,000 tire kickers that are interested in the industry, we might have 2,000 people that are all very highly focused on digital signage. So speaking of signage, one of the companies that plays in that market is Legrand, and we got another sneak peek at a Tad and Tam video that we're going to play for you now.
Again, just reviewing what's going to happen. We're going to go down the line. We're going to show you a picture of a mount. You will have 3 seconds to guess the mount, win a bunch of points, a bunch of pride. It's going to be really exciting. So control goes to Team Charcuterie. Team Charcuterie. All right. We're going to go ahead and start with Luke. All right, Luke, we're going to you. We're going to put it up there. You have 3 seconds. It is time to
guess the mount.
Absent Acclaim Plus and Pro.
Oh, didn't even need the full 3 seconds.
I didn't even get to start counting.
I know. Whoa. That is absolutely correct.
Well, that's 10,000 points.
Right there. For a bonus 657 points, Luke, how did you know it was the Absinthe?
The teardrop slot is like a 0.5 millimeter wider than the Samsung. Everybody knows that.
Everybody does know that.
Especially you.
Whoa, look, that's amazing. And you all might have noticed that the bonus points are so low, they can't actually affect the final score. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah, part of the fun of the game.
You knew that, right, Steph? I mean, come on. You knew that.
Yeah,
a millimeter.
Totally.
Like,
We need to work on our Oh yes, there's the full video of that is on YouTube. Please check it out. I think Gary.
Go to Legrand. Go to Legrand's YouTube page. Yeah, love it. These are very entertaining, but they're informative, and it's a unique way. It's hey, it's gamifying. It's informative in a unique way. But I knew that was Absent Acclaim, didn't you, Steph?
No.
Yeah, come on.
I need to work. I need to work on that kind of thing. I need to show myself pictures and start guessing. what manufacturer it is. Gary, I think we need to work on our energy level because we are like so below Tad and
Are we?
Tan. Like I think so. Like they're
but they take shots before, I'm pretty sure. Don't you think
espresso or something else? I think it's like caffeine.
I'm gonna say espresso so I don't get in trouble from Legrand people. But Tito's maybe could be in the espresso, you know.
Maybe a little Irish coffee
is
what they're drinking.
Yeah.
But
so hey, Metallica. What do you think about Metallica?
Yeah.
40. Can you believe they've been around for 40 years? That makes me feel old.
No, that makes me. I don't feel old because I am younger than them. But
yeah, Meyer Sound did the 40th anniversary concert, and
yes,
listen,
so
Metallica is a big deal, and they kind of they help kind of set the stage for the transition from the 70s to the 80s in music.
Right. And so I thought this like rental and staging install was cool because it took like 286 like loudspeakers put all around this arena. And I thought this arena was interesting because it's like a Grecian style. So like, Gary, I studied theater in college. I don't know if you did, but this is like where the stage is surrounded on all four sides by audience. So there's no like back. Yeah. So it's in the round. So I thought that was like it's just interesting and cool how rental and staging like works with that, like how different spaces are designed. And I always think that like a stage in the round is so cool because they can play to audiences on all the different sides.
Yeah. I've seen in my lifetime only 2 or 3 times ever where the band came out and played in the middle. Right. Coldplay does that. They'll do it with like 1 or 2 songs, but Harry Styles did it. Yeah. But again, they don't do it the whole time. So that's gotta be hard to do, but the staging of that is going to be difficult because you're not, your sound booth and your AV guys can't stay, women and men can't stare in one place to make sure everything's working. They're having to look all around. And so you have to have more than one crew. Obviously,
and you have to play, like the artist has to play to every single side to make sure that like no audience member is in like a bad part of the arena. I saw a Cirque du Soleil show that was done like this, where it was in the middle.
I saw it too. Is that Orlando, right? Is it
this one was the one I saw in Vegas. It was my first InfoComm. It was 2016.
The Beatles,
Haley and I went and saw the Beatles Love Show. We bought our tickets the day of, and so they were just trying to fill seats, and so we got really cheap tickets, but we were in one of the front rows. Like we were in like a front row on one of the sides.
You risk getting picked to be pulled on the stage when you're there.
Well, we didn't get pulled on the stage, but at the end, when everyone's just kind of marching, one of the characters like handed us both flowers, which was really cute. That's cute. We both got covered in confetti because they throw confetti at the end. And I was picking confetti out of my hair, out of my purse, out of my jacket. Like I, to this day, will still find a random piece of it, like in my book bag. So like,
well, look, we're getting told we are out of time for today's show. So we're going to sign off and make sure we're going to sign off and, hey, remind you that we're doing a lot of launch events out there, including the Girl Boss events.
I wanted to
go ahead and
remind everyone of that real quick. So don't forget, we just wanted to remind you of just some things we have coming up in the new year. So there's going to be a launch and learn on overcoming imposter syndrome on January 10th, 2022. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Eastern. Imposter syndrome is something that we've all kind of probably experienced in our lives, but it does seem to be heavily something that women experience in the workforce. So just wanted to remind everyone of that. It's been a great series so far, and I hope that everyone shows up and comes and registers. You can visit launch.com to learn how to register, or we have this story about it with the link to register on rAVe Pubs as well. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, Steph, it was good seeing you. I hope your tests all come out negative and you're comfortable to go outside and enjoy the weather because it's going to be 73 degrees here tomorrow.
I know. That's great.
And I'm heading to Charlotte for a bowl game that may or may not happen. It seems like about half the bowl games have been canceled. at the last
Oh,
minute.
gosh.
So we'll see if
well,
it actually happens.
I hope
So,
it happens. I hope you have a good New Year, Gary, and I'll
You
see
too.
you next week.
see you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.